And welcome back to episode
15.
15. The 15th. That's pretty good. We made it to 15.
Yeah.
It only took a year and a half about, so.
Right.
Or maybe 2 years at this point, actually. I didn't.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but long time.
Yeah.
And it's cool.
We're being very consistent, though.
I was thinking, it's cool that now on this schedule, by the time the next year rolls around, we'll be on episode like 65 or something.
Right,
It'll be way further, way more progress.
Yeah.
And
It's just my teeth look so white in the camera like this. Like,
yeah, actually.
the hell is that?
I think that's just I think that's just because there's a really that's because the white light is really reflecting off of them. But I don't know if it'll actually come across that way in the playback.
It's probably just us. Yeah.
Yeah, like
It's just really funny
I've never looked at that before. But no,
Yes.
I think also like that screen is so low res, the one over there.
Oh yeah.
Like stuff looks way different on it, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Because for our viewers, we're looking at the cameras like.
There's like a
thumbnail
little
thing.
basically just a little screen that shows you what's being recorded and has the time and whatnot, but it looks really weird. I almost when I'm doing thumbnails, I have to turn it away so I can't see what it looks like because otherwise I catch myself looking at it too much to see how things look.
Right.
And then in all the thumbnails that I take, my eyes are
You're
like
looking
looking the
down.
wrong way.
Yeah, that's funny.
And so I'm like, geez.
Yeah,
But-
it really catches your eyes. Like,
yeah, it does. It does. Like it's just like having a little mirror right there, and everyone wants to know what they are looking like if they're looking weird or something. So
Yeah.
yeah. But in this, I tend to not actually look at it that much because
I do.
okay, I look at it I look at it maybe frequently, but not for long periods of time. Like I'll glance at it. Just
Yeah,
to
like
make
if
sure.
we're like deep in a conversation, I'll be looking away.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Because
now that we're talking about it.
yeah, now I'm like yeah. But also, I feel like when we are deep in conversation, I've watched some of the past videos and I look back at myself, like on the playback, and I look kind of spaced out almost because I'm purposefully not looking right into the camera lens and just staring there because I know that would look weird. And it's like this is too sharp of an angle to like comfortably just have my neck and be deep in thought for a
Right.
long period of time. And so I end up just like glancing down to the right and the side. And as I'm talking, I'm thinking very hard, so my eyes aren't moving at all. And
Yeah.
it just looks like I'm completely spaced
like not
out,
paying
like not
attention.
paying
Yeah.
any attention.
Yeah, that's
Even
funny.
if I'm talking, it looks like I'm doing that. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe looking up is better, and it just
I don't
looks like you're thinking more.
The issue is it definitely runs into the thing of like like acting it's like acting as though or like acting in the way that you want people to perceive you to be of like acting like you're thinking because you want people to think that you're thinking about something
Yeah.
almost like prevents you from doing the real like genuine thinking
Yeah.
or like the real like expression that you would make,
Yeah.
whereas like it's almost like people have like an innate like urge to like not believe you if you're kind of faking what you're doing.
Yeah.
Whereas like it's almost the weird this is a thought I was having. This is a random thought. Most people don't have this sort of thoughts, but I was thinking about like honor in like the medieval societies and stuff, and how it just seems so easy to just do honorable, like just be a good person, and people will think you're honorable. But there's just like the obvious thing of like most people would lie and cheat or like get angry about things and then say the wrong thing to their like superiors or whatever, and it's like
Like while they're trying to be honorable, you mean?
yeah, or like because they felt they were like dishonored by like in the last duel or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Matt Damon gets like cheated out of his like dowry or like his wife's dowry or something.
Yeah.
And he like goes and yells at that guy and it's like, you know, he could just be in a much better position if he never did that. But it's like, so I'm getting very off topic. But the idea that like people always just try to like act a certain way and it's like I'm going to act honorable and people will think I'm honorable. But in the end it's like if you just do things like naturally and just don't try to do a certain thing, people will just see that you're being like honorable.
Yeah, if
Like,
your
thoughtful
natural
person.
state is to be honorable. But I
Yeah.
think that evolutionarily, a lot of us do have tendencies to not be as honorable as would be ideal.
Yeah, that's why honor isn't a great example for this, but I'm thinking like
Yeah.
if you're thinking about something,
Yeah.
just like not worrying about how you look and just actually thinking.
I think, that
Yeah.
can work a lot of the time. Unfortunately, we've, with movies and TV, romanticized what people look like when they do certain things.
Right.
And it's not at all like that in real life because when I'm just like kind of spaced out, like staring at the table, when I'm watching the playback, it does not even look to me like I'm thinking, just
Right.
because I've seen so many people who are supposedly thinking and they're sitting on a stone with their,
Right.
you know,
Yeah, that they care or whatever.
yeah, and it just doesn't look at all like what I would imagine the thing is, because I've been conditioned to think of it as something else. And so
Right.
at that point, I have to either just do the best thinking that I can, or I have to make some kind of adjustment to my passive way of thinking and just purposefully, just automatically almost just condition myself to just look up, maybe, if that helps.
For
We'll
other
see.
people.
For the sake of other people and myself, in terms of, say I'm at a business meeting or something, or, you know, not that I'd be at a business meeting, but whatever kind of meeting with people that I care about, and they're explaining something important.
But people who you care about their opinion of you, but not the people that you know.
Yeah. Or even people that I know who just don't see me think often, but you know, like family, and or if my dad's trying to explain something to me and I'm just like almost zoned out, looking just down at the table, he's like, "Come on, pay attention."
Right.
You know, it's just people's expectations. It's beneficial to appease those.
Right. But I think I would argue that like almost like a good, like kind of like an idyllic way to live almost is to only care about people's opinions of you when it's people that know you well enough to have like a nuanced opinion of you. And the rest of the time kind of just like to disregard people and just be confident in what you're doing.
Yeah.
Even if like they'll think you're doing something slightly wrong or whatever. Whereas like with your dad, it's like your dad should know you well enough to like see you staring off into space and know like, oh, Robert's just probably thinking about something.
Yeah.
Whereas the business meeting is like, I don't know how much I want to, you know, be in a big business meeting with people who are going to like look down on me.
Yeah.
Like I'd rather just hang out with people who like either are just like passing me on the street or like people that are friends.
Yeah.
Or want to be friends at least.
No, I agree. Definitely at the grocery store or something, I won't be caring much what I look like at all. And I'll do things knowing that other people, like it'll be on the back of my mind, like, huh, people are probably laughing at this, but I just needs to be done. So I'll do it. But if it's a situation where, say you're buying a new car and you want to make a good first impression, you want to appear as if you're not just like, maybe you do have like excess money to just throw around on it, but you want to get a good deal. You don't want to appear that way, even though you're not going to be in a long-term relationship with that person who's selling the car to you. It might still benefit you to act a certain way and put on a certain persona of, I don't have much money to spend, like I'm looking for a good deal.
Yeah. You have to do it sometimes.
Yeah.
Or at least
I guess it benefits you to do it sometimes. You don't have to. You could still, you could get it.
Not have to, but like it's better to. But yeah, I think I sort of see it as like a necessary evil, almost of like, for the most part, it's easier to just do things naturally and do what you want to do. And then in some situations, it's like you need say you need a job and you have to go to work and like obey the leaders of the place.
Yeah.
It's like you just kind of have to do some things.
Yeah.
And it's like almost like the best way you can live life is to find a way to need to do the least of the fake stuff.
And so you're saying like, in this theoretical situation, say we needed a job because we had no money and we needed food. Would it be best not to act a certain way and just do whatever you do and just go to the job?
I'm thinking like you do the bare minimum of like there's two options of like being yourself or pretending to be someone else who's more like fit for the job or whatever. It's like, I guess either find the best job, or if you have no choice, you just like do whatever job, like you do your job and then find ways to like sort of like cut back on how much you have to fake and sort of do the bare minimum to like appease the people who like who don't actually care about you and just want you to be a certain way type of thing.
Yeah. Now let's say some of the people like at the upper echelons of the company who are still, you know, like right above you basically, right? Your manager. Maybe you know they're pretty superficial and they care about people acting a certain way and there's a chance for a promotion.
Yeah.
Like, do you still like disregard like acting in a way that you think they would like, or do you do it thinking and being pretty confident that it would get you a higher chance at getting promoted? Like, what do you do? What do you think?
Yeah. So it gets to the question of, well, I guess there's a different way to look at it, but the real question is who is getting promoted almost?
Yeah.
Is like if you present like a completely fake version of yourself, it's almost like you're getting this like character. I can't say the caricature. How do you?
I think it's caricature.
Caricature. Yeah.
Caricature. Yeah.
Getting this caricature of yourself promoted into this job, and it's like you get promoted a couple more times, and it's like by the end of it, like you have to fake like 100% of what this like character is doing in this company. And it's like, are you just like, are you really working for yourself anymore? Or are you working for like this version of, or this like thing that you've created almost?
Yeah. But
and it's like you get more money, but you get less time to live as yourself almost.
Yeah, that's true. In the sense, like, because you're going to this job and you're doing work for these people, and you're not yourself while you're there one way or another. Like, you have to do certain tasks.
Yeah.
And
it's like a mixture. Like part of the time you're yourself.
And you could lose even more of yourself, like trying to act in a certain way for the benefit of those people and thus for your pay. And as long, I view it almost like as long as when you go home, if you're going to go home and still be yourself, as long as it hasn't seeped in too much, it might seep in just because everything is going to seep a little bit.
Right.
It's not too bad because, say, you know, one way you don't get promoted much at all and you're making maybe $40,000 a year in the mailroom. And the other way, if you really put on a good show, you end up getting paid $100-something a year. And then in your free time, you can do more of what you want instead of, you never have to drive Uber in the spare time and lose even more time. Or you could do just part-time and make $80K a year.
Yeah.
What's more valuable, like having the extra time to be fully yourself or being partly yourself for the excess time that you're working?
Yeah. It's hard to like really put numbers on it. Because, I guess I would say like, ideally, you want to like get to a position in the company or whatever where you can be like fairly comfortable and not have to work outside of work and not have like some like worry afterwards where it's like, oh man, I didn't get paid enough this month or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like you want to like, you want to like almost fake as much as you need to like keep the sanctity of the rest of your life.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like once you get past that point, it's like almost like getting more money doesn't really help you that much. Whereas like on the outside, it will let you go on like more trips or like get a nicer house or like get your kids nicer clothes or something. But at the same time, it's like, it's hard to say. That gets a little too like too deep in like the what's the meaning of life type of stuff.
Yeah.
But I'd like to think that like just getting more money doesn't make you like, I'm gonna say happier or like, I can't say like so much. There's not, you don't get everything you need from just having, 50% more money.
Yeah. But say you did make the 50% more and then you retired 50% sooner and could just be yourself 100% of the time. Like, is it better to be not yourself more so than you otherwise would at the job to just eventually you've sped up the process of doing all of that and gotten to a place where you can be yourself 100% of the time and could be happy not having to do any of the tasks?
Yeah. That's an interesting like version of it almost, where it's like, sort of what you're talking about is like, you work like 8 hours a day, like on a daily basis, you work 8 hours a day, then you go home for like 8 hours and you sleep for 8 hours.
Yeah.
But with this is almost like changing the scale of it, where it's like not a daily thing, and instead it's like throughout your life. Say you live for, I was gonna say 24 years. If you live for like 100 years or whatever, you spend your first 30 going to school, going to work, getting all the money.
Yeah.
Then you spend another 30 like living your life because you made all the money, and then you spend another 30 sleeping because you're like 80 or whatever.
Right, Okay. Yeah. So wait. So 30 years like of across your life are spent to sleep, or you mean 30?
I'm saying like very figuratively. But,
okay.
Like, I think
but
that,
you're
like,
just like mentally unwell at that point almost.
Yeah, or like you can't do that much once you're old. You're like no matter where you are, you're just kind of like the most you can do is think about things. Or, like, have fun with your grandkids or whatever.
Yeah.
Tell stories. I don't know. But it's kind of like an idea of like you're doing the same thing as you would if you work 8 hours a day and then like play 8 hours a day. But it's almost just like on a different scale where it's like either way, if you look at it as like you're wasting this amount of time and then living the rest of it, then it's almost like you're not solving the problem. You're just like moving it to a different scale.
Yeah. Now, what things are you viewing as really important to do that you can do during that second set of 30 years that you can't do when you're older? Because you just said when you're older, you can sit and think and play with your grandkids. And it's like, those sound like pretty good things.
Right.
But what are like the really important things that you're like, oh, it's lost its meaning almost. Its importance. Like,
yeah, I'm not sure. I was also just saying that for like the for the comparison, but
okay.
But yeah, like if you want to like pursue a hobby or something,
Yeah.
like if you want to go rock climbing, you can't go rock climbing when you're 60.
Yeah.
That's probably around the cutoff. If like
Probably
you can't do
where
much physical stuff. Like
yeah.
and eventually you won't want to like go that far because you can't walk too well, and it's like
Yeah. So is that kind of stuff like the really important stuff in life? Because
yeah, I don't know.
what if you could have the trade-off of you say, I give all of that stuff up, and now I can. I mean, I can still like walk around, obviously, but maybe I can't like sprint and stuff. Just basically do physically what a 70-year-old could do, but I don't have to do any of the work. Right? I don't have to do the work.
Yeah.
I just get my life and my mind, and I can like have relationships with people and think and talk.
Right, but you can't go very far.
But you can't go very far. You can't do the physical stuff.
Yeah, and your body aches
And
if you do anything.
And ideally, like maybe you're a relatively healthy 70-year-old, not suffering from dementia or anything like that.
Yeah.
Would you do it?
So if you could like trade, you're saying just like skip forward to that part of your life?
Not skip forward. Like you would still have the full length of life.
Yeah,
but you'd lose those aspects, the physical aspects, and lose the demanding aspects of you wouldn't have to work to feed yourself. Like food would just come. Like
so like basically instead of going through the normal course of life, you just like immediately start at the old age and have that for the same amount of time as the rest.
I'm kind of asking you, like, how do you value the physical stuff more than you value doing the work to earn the survivability to do it?
Yeah, it's very hard to say. Like,
because at a certain point, we're not going to be doing much physical stuff with the VR and all that. Like, it almost seems like a good trade off at that point.
Well, it's not all physical. Like the old age thing is also like a mental. Like
there is a big
like you can't do as much physically, and you also can't like think as like or like there's something you lose mentally. Like I don't know, like you don't learn as well, and you don't like your brain's not forming new memories as fast.
Yeah,
like,
there's definitely that.
But yeah, I would say if it was all the physical effects and none of the mental stuff, I think I don't know. I'd be tempted to do it.
It does seem very tempting.
Because I've thought, like, I've definitely thought when I go to class, the bus drives, or like between the campuses.
Yeah.
The bus drives past this this like apartment building that's like a 55 plus place.
Right by campus?
Yeah.
Really?
It's like between the campuses. You might not have seen it, but it's like...
Is it by the big church?
Yeah, it's by the big church.
Okay, yeah.
And it's basically just like a home for kind of old people who are like either like retired or about to retire. And it's just like... I just basically think like, that would be a nice place to live, you know?
Yeah, right by the college campus.
Yeah, and you're just like this old person just kind of minding your own business. You have some old friends that you play card games with or something, like my grandpa does. It's like, that's not that bad of a life, you know?
No, it sounds fun. And old people can still, like, until they get really bad, they can still, like, get on a plane and travel and, like...
Yeah, definitely, like 55, yeah.
Yeah, but even, like, 65, you can still go to the Coliseum and walk around and see it, like... You can still do stuff.
The Roman Coliseum?
The Roman Coliseum.
Yeah. I would show you it like
that. Yeah. You could still do things and see
you could,
stuff.
No, it's not that limited. But, But yeah.
So would you take this deal?
But no, but I think there's like... not like a sanctity to it, but it's like, you only have one chance to be 20 or whatever.
Yeah.
Or 23. You might as well take that and see for yourself if being 23 is better than being 80 or whatever.
Yeah.
It's almost like you want to like get every bit of life that you can, and it's like if you spend it working or spend all of it the same like physical age or whatever, you kind of miss out on like the things that there are to see. Kind of.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like it is very fun just doing a big hike and seeing how far you can go, and really getting tired, doing a ton of swimming and. Like just going to the beach and running around and like kicking a volleyball, and it's very fun doing that kind of stuff. And so I personally would not give up the physical just to get rid of the work. But I'm also not in as bad of a situation as some people are who do have to do... Say me. I was like... No, I mean like some people who have to do like grueling work and like working in a coal mine or something. Right. And then maybe it's like, if I was working in a coal mine, it's really tough to say what I would do in that.
Yeah.
If there was no chance of escape.
Yeah, I think I'd rather... Like, in that situation, you definitely want to be old.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, you don't want to, like, be old with the things that you have when you're 20, because then you'll just die because no one's there to, like, support you.
Yeah.
Because there's the obvious thing that we're very privileged in the fact that, like, we don't have to work to survive.
Yeah.
And if we were old, we could just like work online or something.
Yeah, well, I'm saying in this
but-
imaginary situation, like you get the support. Like
you
that's
get the
the
support.
trade-off.
Okay, okay.
You don't have to do any of the
I
work.
see, I see, yeah.
But you just because otherwise you're just
Yeah.
giving up the physical like. For no
Oh yeah,
reason.
I forgot. We
Yeah.
were saying you don't need the work at all.
Yeah, if the work goes away.
Yeah.
Yeah, then I
But
think
no, but-
that could be worth it.
No, yeah, you definitely want to do that. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's hard to say. Like, yeah.
Overall, there was something that we were talking about right before I asked this.
Yeah.
And this kind of derailed that.
It did a little bit,
Just
yeah.
because I was curious when you said the thing about the old people, like, not having greatish lives.
Or like being asleep or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
basically,
Yeah.
so I was like, oh, I wonder, like, what Louis thinks about this.
Yeah. But yeah, the idea that should you work for 5 years,
Yes, yeah.
like 24/7,
Yeah.
and then live the rest of your life?
Because I
with the
like
money, yeah.
that idea of just, like, really grinding through it soon. You do miss out on some of the younger
Yeah.
things, like...
Mhm.
Like, just spending money on things now is potentially better than later. Like, having the experiences of, if you do go to Rome, you might be able to, like, climb around on the Colosseum, whereas you could just stand and look at it
Right.
if you were 80. Like, you know?
Yeah.
So it's not literally, but that kind of stuff.
There's also, well, there's two big things. The first thing is that if you spend, like, it's like whatever you do now is almost like investment for the future.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what's a good way for this? It's like if you commit to doing something now, you're almost like assuming that that's the right thing to commit to.
Mm-hmm.
And this is kind of like where I'm coming from with the idea of like kind of just waiting and seeing like what the best thing you can think of is,
Yeah.
or the best thing that you can just like kind of gradually figure out.
Yep.
Because the issue is that if you spend, like if you're 23 and you decide I'm going to spend the next 5 years working nonstop and not enjoying life or whatever, and then in 5 years you realize, wait a minute, I was earning Monopoly money and not real money or something.
Yeah.
Then you just wasted all that time. Whereas if you sort of like relax and work like a few hours a day for 10 years or whatever, even if the whole time you were earning Monopoly money, you don't realize it. It's like you live the rest of the day and you don't
Yeah.
mind like losing a bit of it or whatever.
Yeah.
Like you haven't like invested fully into this thing that isn't 100%, you know?
Yeah. I hear that. That does make sense. And
Yeah.
so are you saying there's a possibility
Mhm.
that, not literally that the money we're earning is Monopoly money,
Mm-hmm.
but that, like, the things that you
Depends.
get...
Who made the Monopoly board?
Yeah. It's true.
Think about it like that.
But that, I guess the things like that you can buy with it, like,
Yeah, they're real.
yeah, they seem like real things. Some
Yeah,
of them
yeah.
at least seem like real things, like the
I tried.
security and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The food is real. Yeah.
The food makes sense,
I'm
yeah.
just exaggerating, but yeah.
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 And to a certain extent, like past a certain extent, I could see
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's wasted if you're spending it on a bunch of
Mm-hmm.
potential like longevity care options and just
Mm-hmm.
like medicines that might help you in the future, like a bunch of vitamins and stuff. If you're just working really hard and getting a bunch of vitamins that we don't know for sure if they're going to extend your
Oh, yeah.
lifespan, it might be a waste.
Wait, it's yeah. That's like one of the less wasteful things.
Yeah.
But it's like if you're spending on like just like things at the mall or whatever.
Yeah, just like
then
new
you're really wasting it.
clothes
Yeah.
and stuff. Yeah.
But yeah, sorry.
Yeah, but overall, what do you think could be possibly a better thing to do with your time?
Right. Like I don't know for sure, but I like the idea of like I think we talked about this in the past of like kind of diversifying and not like any one idea taken too far is guaranteed to be wrong because it doesn't apply to like every situation. Whereas like trying to get the money is good. Or like it's almost like nearly guaranteed to be good because it gets you food and it gets you like the security. But it's like past a certain point, it's like you shouldn't care too much about the money. You should care about almost just like whatever else you find that isn't like obviously bad for you.
Yeah.
Because I feel like not everything, but like a lot of different things can be really good for certain things, or for like very narrow parts of your life. Like if you go canoeing or whatever, and it's like maybe the warm river air was perfect for your pneumonia or something.
Yeah.
And it's like you never know what like useful things you'll find by just trying out a lot of different stuff. So it's like spending too much time on the money and the work is almost guaranteed to like make you miss out on something.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I much prefer, and I've seen it both in real life, but especially in video games, it's very visible, these trends that we see in ourselves and other people, because they're such shorter time scales compared to how life ends up turning out. The actions you take in video games, the time is usually really sped up, and so you see the direct outcome of that like much sooner than in real life. And so in games, if it's an RPG or something like that, I do tend to go down the route of jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah.
Which I think is a good way for life. Like being good at a myriad of things. Maybe you have one or two that you really try to specialize in so that if there's a diverse ecosystem, then you at least have some advantage over most of the people operating it in those areas. I think that makes sense.
I have an idea about that.
Yeah. Well, go ahead.
No.
Okay.
Finish what you were saying.
But
I'm interrupting you too much.
Well, I mean, that was mostly the idea. Basically, just that I do agree. I think that you want to be well diversified and have a bunch of things that you can do. Maybe you have some that you focus on a little bit more than others.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to reference Naval again, but I feel like his idea is kind of, or one of his ideas is that you want to sort of like specialize in being yourself, or specialize in like your like specific knowledge or whatever.
Yeah.
And I almost think of it as like a good way to do it could be to like do a lot of different things, like the jack of all trades, with like the external things, like the different things that you can do in the outside world, but almost like kind of keep them like cohesive as all part of like what you are doing. And then you can, instead of like specializing in one external thing, you specialize in like being yourself. Because then it's like, instead of having to choose one of the external things to be the best at, you almost choose like the one provable like internal thing of like your own, not your own mind, but like your own way of doing things. And if you commit to that 100%, then you can still do all the external things and become like a master of like your way of doing things, you know?
Yeah. I think just by the definition of your way of doing things, everyone kind of already does that, because whatever they do is their way of doing things, but even if their way is to mimic and copy. Yeah,
the issue is like, is like the mimicking and copying is almost like, like it's still your way of doing things, like so it's still coming for you, but it's almost like a self negating sort of thing, where it's like you're making something from yourself that like then covers up and like shields you from the outside world. Whereas like you're still like your full mind, like everything in your mind is still there, but like the faking and like the masking and whatever, like kind of just like cuts part of you off from the outside world.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking like you do a lot of different things, almost like in like a synergistic way of like you do a lot of different things and you like open yourself to all of them and just like don't like cover up different parts of yourself or whatever, you know? And sort of like let yourself.
So if
like,
your way truly is to mimic and copy, then what do you do? I mean, how do you get out of that rut where you're not opening yourself up? Even if that is your way, like what if that's your real way?
Right.
Do you have to like just create something else, or?
I don't know. Well, I guess in some ways, like we all do kind of copy. Like we're all speaking English and we're all like acting like our parents and our siblings, kind of like in abstract ways.
But we should just accentuate the more unique aspects that we
can like
fathom.
Yeah, like it's hard to say. Like the way I've been doing it is sort of just like kind of like the Buddhist thing of just like not really trying to change things and more just observing.
Well,
like,
isn't that just copying Buddhism?
It is just copying Buddhism. Yeah. I think this is getting too deep, but I think the right way to do it is like to copy the right things.
Yeah.
Until you can eventually stop copying anything.
Yeah.
Is that like you can copy a lot of different things. You almost have to live in the world or whatever. But it's like the better things you copy, the better equipped you can, or like the more quickly you can get to a point of not copying things, I guess.
The better things you can copy, the more quickly you can get to a point of not copying. Is there anyone that you've seen who's stopped copying, or that you know of?
Naval is part of like
Naval, yeah.
He like not 100% obviously, but like he seems to be. Like, I've never heard anyone else say the things Naval says. Yeah.
I agree. Naval is pretty good.
Yeah.
Shout out to Naval.
Shout out to,
Make more podcasts.
I don't know what his last name is.
Don't even do them, not with, no intent. Just talk about normal stuff throughout the day, and I'll listen to it just because.
Yeah, just do like a vlog or something.
Yeah, just a vlog. I don't need like an educational podcast that you're selling to anyone. Like, I know you're not trying to do that, but just make a vlog.
Yeah,
I want to see a day in the life of Naval.
Just
like, for fun.
His lifestyle. Is
don't monetize it, just for fun, because people are curious. Yeah, I think. All right, and look at that right at the end of the episode. Perfect. So I like that. Episode 15. Thanks for listening, Marky. We'll see you in the next one.
See you later, Marky. Bye.